last few years, we have been witnessing an interesting phenomena in the education space, especially in the coaching space, and within coaching in the edtech space, where the private equity firms, the PE firms or the venture capitalist firms are pumping a lot of money into these different coaching institutions. The question basically is about how much will it influence quality of education or quality of training and coaching. Well, this is something to look at. This may vary from case to case. There cannot be any general answer given, but I will present my view of this entire phenomena. Like any other business or like any other sector, which is a manufacturing setup, or it could be a services setup, or it could be a system driven setup. So, whenever there is a system driven setup, it is possible that PE funding, VC funding or any funded business is likely to expand well, do well in the future if managed professionally and properly with the right strategies. So, this has actually happened in a host of sectors, including the retail sector, the tech sector and so many other sectors, where if proper funding is received by the business from whichever sources, maybe PE, VC or any other investing sources, sometimes even the government pumps in money, there is an expansion and there is a growth in that particular sector and also in specific companies. However, in the education space, especially in the coaching space, coaching is a student centric activity. Formal education is a teacher centric activity. Any other business, you can systemize it, you can mechanize it, you can automate it. This is not the case with coaching. See, coaching is a activity which has its own idiosyncrasies or its own specialities. I will like to cite two of them. One of them is coaching institution, one of the few businesses or few activities where the consumer comes to you every day for a few hours. This you will not see in any other business. Doctors don't see this happening, chartered accountants don't see this happening, lawyers don't see this happening. Any other, even a shopkeeper may not see this happening. His customer is not coming every day, spending hours together on a daily basis. So, coaching is one of the rare activities where your customer or your consumer is actually coming to you for getting the services of education or training for a few hours on a daily basis, and it may go on for maybe a year, 2 years, quite a long period. This makes it very unique. The service, the nature of the service which coaching institutions offer makes it very unique, number one. Number two, there is a difference between customer and consumer when it comes to coaching institutions. The consumer is the student, the customer is the parent. So, there are very few activities and businesses where customer and consumer are different. They are usually the same in most businesses. Now, therefore, when a coaching institution has a student enrolled, they also have to engage with their parents. This is generally the case, especially when you are dealing with teenage students or children. Maybe for coaching institutions handling 20 plus, 25 plus age group students, that may not be the case. But since most coaching institutions operate in the teenage or the under 12 age, this is definitely a matter of fact. Now, this makes it a different activity as compared to most other activities. So, the attention that you need to engage of the child becomes very important. Now, when you take funding, when you expand, because naturally investors will fund you because with the hope that you will grow, you will expand, you will have multiple centers, you will grow in number of student strength, you will grow in your top line, you will grow in your bottom line. So, based on your EBITDA, based on your PAT, based on your return of capital employed, all those kind of different ratios, financial ratios are generated. Based on that, valuation is basically done. So, when you start chasing valuation, if you are a coaching institution owner or a promoter and you are chasing valuations instead of creating value for students, there is definitely going to be dilution in quality. So, essentially funding of institutions causes the coaching institution to focus on increasing their valuations, because if you want to push up your price, you have to push up your earnings, you have to push up your top line, you have to expand indiscriminately sometimes, and in that process dilution of quality happens. And that happens because there is so much meticulousness and attention you need to give to each student in a particular training program, that may not become possible. So instead of taking just 25, 40 students in a classroom, you will tend to take 80, 100, 200, 300 students in one classroom, and obviously that will have its negative repercussions on the quality of education per student basis. So per capita education input, if you look at, there will be definitely a negative effect. So I am quite skeptical, to be very honest, in terms of whether quality can be kept same for funded institutions, because funded institutions always have the pressure of having to expand, having to grow. They have to show those numbers to satisfy the investors. Otherwise, they will divest their sales, their stakes, and they will sell off the institution, or they will the valuations will suffer. So once you play the valuation game, then the whole nature of activity shifts. So when the focus becomes building valuations, increasing valuations, then obviously the quality suffers, because quality comes only when you focus on creating value for the student. So basically, from creating value, your focus will shift to building valuations of the company, and that is detrimental to the quality of education, the quality of input per student, the quality of output per student, and that is not very good. So basically, in summary, what I wish to put forth is, funded institutions have the pressure to expand, and in that process dilution of quality happens. In my understanding of the nature of the work that coaching institutions do, you should use a business as a medium to achieve educational gains or educational ends or educational goals. If you decide to use education as a medium instead to achieve business goals or business ends, then things do not remain sustainable and well received. So therefore, it is necessary that those parents, students, and even coaching institution owners must be sensitive to this particular aspect, reflect on what I have just said, and accordingly make a decision. Obviously, this is just my view. Lot of institutions are already being funded, they are playing out their game, and we will see how things pan out, whether funding actually leads to increase of quality or maintaining quality, or it does not, or there are several other innovations which may be needed to actually make two ends meet. So of course, time will tell. Thank you very much.